In this video, we are going to look at more two-way tables. So for our first example, the owner of a pizza restaurant wanted to know what kind of pizza was the most popular on a given day. So we're looking at what the owner found for that day. We have 27 customers that purchased pepperoni, 34 purchased cheese, 22 purchased vegetarian, and 15 purchased the works. So, based on these results, we want to express the probability for the following and round the answer to the nearest hundredth. So, that's 2 after the decimal place. So, for those who chose cheese, well, we can't really know much more than what's given, but I need to know what the total number of customers were. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all the amounts that are given up here so I can figure out how many customers there were in total. So 27 plus 34 plus 22 plus 15 gives us 98. So from there, those who chose cheese, if I look up here, 27, no, that's for pepperoni. 34, there we go. 34 chose cheese out of 98. So in your calculator, I would do 34 divided by 98, and we'll end up with a decimal of 3.3469, etc. Now, I need to make sure I round this to the second decimal because this is tenths and hundredths. So I get rounded 0.35. The next one looks for vegetarian. So we had 22 vegetarian purchased. So 22 out of 98, which gets us a decimal in the calculator. If I do 22 divided by 98, a 0.2244. So that rounds to 0.22. The next one asked for pepperoni. Pepperoni was the first one. So 27 out of 98. And that gets us 0.2755. When rounded is 0.28. And our last one is the works, which is 15 out of 98, which gets us 0.1530, which is approximately 0.15. So you should notice that if I add all these together, we should get close to 1, which is like 100%. We should be around that. So all of these added together, all of our probabilities added together should always be about 100%. So for our next example, in a high school math class, students were asked if they frequently read, play video games, or neither. So I want to know, are they doing one, both, neither? The following table summarizes their findings. So notice I have a read column, does not read column. Play video games, row, does not play video games, row. I'm going to add a couple ones in here just so I know what my totals are. So I'm going to write total down here. And I'm going to make a total column right here. So I want to know how many total kids are in this class and what my totals are in general. So for those who play video games, I'm going to add 8 and 14, which gets us to 22. And I'm going to add 10 and 6, which gets us 16. So added together, we're looking at a class total of 38. Going to do the same thing here. So we're going to say those who read, those who don't read. And this should also add to 38. So that's our first step. So the next thing it says, what is the probability a student only reads? So that means they're in the read category but does not play video games. So it's 10 out of 38. So remember, if it doesn't specify whether it wants it as a fraction or a decimal, keep it as a fraction. And if you want to simplify it, you can. This would be 5 over 19. What is the probability that a student does neither? So does not read, does not play video games, that's 6. So 6 out of 38, which gives us, if we divide it by 2, 3 over 19. And lastly, what is the probability that a student who plays video games also reads? So, given that they play video games, that they also read, it's 8, but is it going to be out of the total? So, this is a kind of a tricky question. So, it's given that this person who plays video games, the total that play video games is 22. So this is going to actually beat out of 22 because it's given that they play video games. So out of the total 22, how many do read? 8. So 4 out of 11. So make sure when you're reading and paying attention to the wording. So if it tells you that it's a specific type, if it's given a specific type, then they also do this thing. It might be out of this total instead of this total here. So if I know they play video games, it's out of 22. How many of them read that do play video games? 8 out of those 22.